Her name was Eleanor Grace. She was 74 years old, and she had lived in the same house on Maple Street in Portland, Oregon, for 49 years, every morning. Eleanor woke up at 6 o'clock. She made coffee. She sat by the window, and she watched the street come alive. People walking dogs, children going to school, neighbors waving hello. She knew everyone on Maple Street, and everyone knew her. They called her Miss Ellie. But on one Tuesday morning in October, something was different. Eleanor went to her mailbox as usual. She opened it. Inside, there was one envelope. No stamp, no return address, just her name, written in old-fashioned handwriting. She looked left, she looked right. The street was empty. She went inside. She sat at her kitchen table. She opened the envelope carefully. Inside was a single piece of paper. The paper was yellowed and thin. There were only 4 lines on the paper. Eleanor, look under the oak tree. 3rd root from the left. You will understand when you see it. Eleanor read it twice, then a 3rd time. Her hands were trembling slightly. She knew exactly which oak tree. There was only one oak tree on Maple Street. It stood at the end of her garden. It was older than her house, older than the street itself. She put on her coat. She put on her garden gloves. She walked slowly to the back garden. The oak tree was massive. Its roots twisted out of the ground like old fingers. Eleanor counted from the left. 1 root, 2 roots, 3. She knelt down. She pressed her gloved hands into the soil near the 3rd root. The earth was loose there, like someone had recently dug it. She dug carefully with her fingers, 6 inches down. Her fingers touched something hard. She pulled it out. It was a small tin box. Dark green, rusted at the edges. Eleanor sat back on the garden bench. She held the box in her lap. She opened it slowly. Inside, there was a photograph and another letter. The photograph showed 2 young women. They were laughing, standing in front of the very oak tree that Eleanor was sitting under now. Eleanor looked at the photograph for a long time. One of the women was her. 50 years younger, hair dark, eyes bright. And the other woman was her best friend, Margaret. Margaret had moved away 40 years ago. They had lost touch. Eleanor had searched for her many times, but Margaret seemed to have simply disappeared now, with shaking hands. Eleanor opened the 2nd letter. It said, "My dear Ellie, I have been watching over you. I moved back to Portland 6 months ago. I have been too afraid to knock on your door. I did not know if you still remembered me or if you wanted to. I buried this box under the oak tree 40 years ago. The day I left, I always planned to come back for it. I am glad it is still there, if you want to find me. I am at 14 Birchwood Avenue. I will be sitting on the porch at noon. Every day, just in case. Your friend always, Margaret." Eleanor sat very still. The October wind moved through the oak tree above her. The leaves fell slowly, gold and red. She looked at her watch. It was 11:45. She stood up. She walked inside. She put the tin box and the letters in her coat pocket. She picked up her keys. In American culture, there is a saying, "It is never too late." Eleanor drove to Birchwood Avenue. She found number 14, a small white house, a green porch, a rocking chair, and sitting in the rocking chair was an old woman, white hair, warm eyes. Wrapped in a blue blanket, the old woman looked up. And the moment she saw Eleanor, she put her hand over her mouth. Eleanor walked up the porch steps. She held up the photograph. She said, "I found it." Margaret stood up slowly. Her eyes were full of tears. She said, "I wasn't sure you would come." Eleanor smiled. She said, "Margaret, you buried a mystery under my tree." "Of course I came." They both laughed. And then The way old friends do. They sat down together and began to talk, as if 40 years had never passed at all. Great job finishing the story. Let us quickly review what we learned. Vocabulary words. Mailbox gives a box near your home where letters are delivered. Return address gives the sender's address on an envelope. Old fashioned gives belonging to an older style or time. Yellow gives turned yellow from age. Trembling gives shaking slightly from emotion or nervousness. Massive gives extremely large and heavy. Knelt gives went down on your knees. Rusted gives damaged and covered with rust over time. Porch gives a covered entrance area of a house. Idioms and expressions. Lost touch gives to gradually stop communicating with someone. It is never too late gives you can always still act, no matter how much time has passed. Now tell me, did you enjoy this mystery? Like this video, subscribe to Voice Vocabulary. And I will see you in the next story. Keep going.